Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off with a quick PSA. If you've got Super Smash Bros. On the 3DS, you may not want to delete your DLC. Apparently, previously purchased Smash Bros. DLC is no longer re-downloadable. Now, interestingly enough, this appears to go directly against what Nintendo is saying. So if we scroll down and go on ahead and take a look at the Q&A section on this post, the question here, is it still possible to download update data or purchase software? And here's the answer. For the foreseeable future, it is still possible to download update data and re-download purchase software and downloadable content from the Nintendo eShop. Now, if for some reason you don't believe me, people have even put up videos on YouTube trying to re-download DLC and getting an error message. Now, I don't know about you, but in my opinion, this messaging from Nintendo is misleading or just flat out incorrect. I don't know if Nintendo is going to issue refunds for DLC that people purchase that they can no longer access. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And speaking about refunds, next up we're talking about The Crew 1 on PlayStation. Someone apparently purchased the game back in 2015 and was able to get a refund in 2024. Now, for those who may be unaware, as of March 31st of this year, The Crew was officially shut down. It's no longer playable. And this refund makes me wonder if it's a one-off thing from Sony, or if Sony is going to refund every single person who requests it through customer service. And then it makes me wonder about Steam and Xbox. Are refunds going to be available here too? Now, in fairness, it does seem as if some other people have tried this and were turned down. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and let me know if you think the Stop Killing Games campaign helped out at all with this. I hope it did. Moving on, and we're talking about tekkenmods, which is modding for Tekken, and it appears that Bandai Namco has issued an infringement notice to this site. So it appears that this is the notice from Bandai Namco, and they say, "We demand that you immediately remove all Tekken copyrighted images, logos, or other visible or concealed text within your website, located at the following URLs." And there's a very specific mod here. It's not Tekken mods in general. And if I head to that very specific URL, the page is now gone. To be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised Bandai Namco went after one specific link. If you know more about this one, let me know in the comments below. Next up, we're talking about Riqa, an unreleased N64 game that appears to have just been dumped online. Surprisingly, this was dumped by one of the developers who worked on the game, and it is up over on archive.org. If you want to learn more about it, I'll drop a link in the description below. Based on the footage, if you haven't guessed already, Riqa was supposed to be a Tomb Raider competitor. The developer says they've uploaded the last 4 builds in a zip file so you can download them all and try. They say the game will work in an emulator, and it'll also work on an N64 with an EverDrive. However, one important thing, you need to have 2 controllers to play the game. Controller 2 is used to open the menu and select a level. Next up, we're quickly talking about video game Esoterica, and video game Esoterica has just put out a brand new video called Yuzu is Dead. Suyu is here. How does Nintendo's emulation fight end? If you're interested in the legal side of things, some theory around the whole Yuzu versus Nintendo case and beyond, I'll drop a link to this video in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. Next up, I've got another quick one for you. We're talking about Palworld, and specifically on the Xbox. If you've got this game on the Xbox, you may want to be careful when you're loading a multiplayer save, as in don't do it at all. They say here, please note, multiplayer save data created in a multiplayer game after Xbox version 0.2.06 will no longer be able to be loaded after the above patch is released. And if you are wondering about the consequences of possibly trying to load a multiplayer game, well, we've got an answer for you. This person says it's too late. I've loaded in and lost everything. But again, and as far as we know here, this only applies to Xbox. Next up, we're talking about the highly anticipated, or possibly once highly anticipated, Star Wars Outlaws. And there was a bit of a controversy surrounding this game that appeared online. So pre-orders for this game have popped up online, and people quickly noticed something very interesting in the box art, or rather controversial in the box art. It says internet required to install the game. Now it appears a lot of people are upset because this is not a multiplayer game. It's a single player game. And people are wondering why it requires an internet connection. Is it to download game files? Is it to download a day one patch? Is it to activate something? And on top of that, people are wondering if this game will remain playable if Ubisoft decides to, I don't know, shut down their servers like they did with The Crew. And speaking about playable, next up we're talking about a Crash Team Racing prototype that was just dumped. It's for Xbox, and the date on this prototype is June 29th, 2005. Now, since this is a prototype and not the finished product, there are some differences between this version and the final version. For example, pressing the left D-pad in the gift shop section of the multiplayer setup grants you coins. Going into first person using the left trigger in the hub areas, and then pressing X gives you a crystal, Y gives you coins. The main menu, racetracks, and Grand Prix win music are all the early MIDI mockups, and all characters and vehicles are unlocked from the get-go, but only in the main menu sections. And if you wanted to see this Crash Tag Team Racing prototype in action, there are some videos over on YouTube. I'll drop one in the description below. And speaking about Xbox, next up we're quickly talking about Xbox 360, and this is more of just a PSA. The Xbox 360 store will close on July 2024. This is not new news, just a friendly reminder. Next up, if you like mini golf and you like free games, you might like this new segment. Wonder Wickets is now free on Steam. This game was released back in 2018, and the developer has just marked it as free. So if you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and feel free to check it out. There's no harm in adding free stuff to your library. And last up here, we're talking about emulation on iOS, and things seem to be improving step by step, but there is still a ways to go. So this is a recent post by Riley. He says Delta has been approved for distribution with AltStore. For reference, AltStore is a way to sideload apps, and it's only available in Europe. And Delta is an app that contains a whole bunch of emulators, for example NES, SNES, N64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, and Sega Genesis. Unfortunately, this is restricted to the EU and isn't worldwide yet. Hopefully, maybe one day it will be, but in my opinion, one step is better than no steps forward. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.